Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the following testimony will be the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Ronda, my name's Mike Rafi. I have some questions for you.
Okay.
The video camera here is so that you can talk directly to the jury. So what I'll ask is when I ask you a question, if you want to answer it by looking at the jurors who will eventually see this, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's start by telling the jurors your name.
David Aranda,
And where do you live, Mr. Aranda?
Gwinnett.
Is that Gwinnett County?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there for?
3 years.
Do you remember August 16th, 2014?
Yes.
What were you doing that day?
Working.
What kind of work do you do?
Movers company.
And what do you do for the Movers Company?
On deliver, so people move it to Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you working with anyone else that day?
Yeah, the driver helped Greg and me.
So did you say a driver, a driver's helper, Greg, and you?
Yes.
Who's Greg?
Oh, it's my friend. Me and him worked together 10 years.
The two other guys, the driver and the helper, did you know them?
Yes.
Had you worked with them before?
Couple times.
Just for identification, were the two guys that were the driver and the helper, were they white guys, black guys, something else?
Yes, so white guys. The driver and the driver help.
And what does Greg look like?
Black.
How did you get to the job that day?
Oh, I'm driving to the job.
Did you see how Greg got to the job?
His wife bring it to him.
When you got there, were the driver and the helper already there?
Yes.
Now, here's the most important question I have for you. That morning on August 16, 2014, did you see a dog bite Greg?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How can you be so sure?
I'm there.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I see it when the dog bite him.
Is there any doubt in your mind whether a dog bit Greg that day?
No, they bite him because I see them right there.
Let me walk you back to when you first got to the job. Do you remember where it was?
Oh, I was in front to the house right there to the truck, but they meet it to the shipper.
Okay. So at some point you went to meet the shipper. Is that what you said?
I'm behind him, behind Greg.
Okay. The shipper is the person who owns the house?
Yes.
So when all four of you got there, you went to meet the person who owns the house.
Yes.
And where were you all standing?
From side to the truck, in front of the truck.
Were you near the driveway?
Yeah, the driveway. Yeah.
And at some point, did the owner of the house come outside?
Yes.
Do you remember what that person looks like?
It's a woman.
Is that woman actually in this room today?
Yeah, it's a woman. They coming to meet us to two dogs.
Would you mind pointing to that woman here so we can make sure you know who she is?
She.
Mr. Ronda's accurately identified Miss Angela Garcia Ferrer. David, when Miss Garcia Ferrer came out of the house, was she alone?
Two dogs. They got two dogs.
Were the dogs on leashes?
They got leashes.
What type of leash? Do you remember?
I think the ones they got the clips, the ones you loose it to bring them back.
And when she came out of the house with the two dogs, how far away was she from you all?
It's about 10 feet.
What were the dogs doing?
They show the teeth. They try jumping, but they said they need to meet it to the dogs coming down. This is every job they meet it to the people. They touch the doors or put the hand, but they meet it to the dog, but the dog try to show the teeth. Yeah.
You said the dogs were jumping.
Yeah, it's like jumping.
Who were they jumping towards?
They jumping to Greg, beat the leg.
And were the dogs doing anything with their mouths while they were jumping towards Greg?
Yeah, show the teeth.
Were they snapping?
It's like, only like jumping so quick like this. Hold it to the left. And this is when they pull it back.
So when the dogs were jumping, what did Miss Garcia Ferrer do?
Pull the dog, but they got another dog in the other hand.
You mentioned meeting the dogs. What did she say about meeting the dogs?
Coming the dogs down like that. It's a friendly. So the dog's friendly.
Did she say if the if everybody would meet the dogs would be friendly?
Yeah. Yes. So yes.
And after she said that, what happened?
The dog bite Greg.
How did the dog get to Greg?
Lose the lead, and then the dog comes straight to the knee to bite him.
So, I'm sorry, their lawyer was taking a picture of you.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So you said the dogs were on the leash. So how did they get to Greg?
Coming straight to the knee.
Did the owner, Miss Garcia Ferrer, did she have to release the leashes to let the dogs get there?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
When the dogs were going towards Greg, did the owner, Miss Garcia Ferrer, do anything with the leashes?
Pull it back.
And at some point, did the dog bite Greg?
Yes.
Where on Greg's body did one of the dogs bite him?
And the knee.
You said you saw this, right?
Yeah, and the driver taking pictures.
How far away were you when the dog bit Greg?
I was about 3 feet behind him.
So really close.
Yes, I'm close. I'm right there.
Were you scared when all this happened?
Yes, sir.
What were you scared for?
Because it's a scary bite to me, too. Everybody's scary.
After the dog, or while the dog was biting Greg, what was Greg doing?
Oh, they walk it, and the lady brings something to clean into his leg.
Well, before we get there,
Oops.
that's okay. When the dog was still biting his knee, what was Greg doing?
Move the knee, try to, the knee, they bleed the knee.
And what was Miss Garcia Ferrer doing?
Crying, they not believe it, the dog do by him.
After the dog stopped biting Greg, did you see blood?
Yes,
Did you see the wounds, the holes from where the dog's teeth went in?
yes,
Are you sure you saw all that stuff?
yes.
Did Miss Garcia Ferrer do anything or offer Greg anything?
They bring something to clean the knee, and they're crying
Now, do you know why she was crying?
because they don't believe it, it does by him.
Was she upset?
Yeah.
What happened to the dog?
Oh, they take it upstairs to the second floor, put on a room.
And did the dog ever have to be moved after that?
Oh, yes,
Why?
because the dog tried to get out to the room.
So where did the dog go after that?
Put on the room, and the driver tell it they can leave the room, they can leave the dog in the room because they try to get out.
So did the woman move the dog anywhere?
Oh, they move it to the backyard and put on the case, and they put a blanket, and the dog try to get out to the case too.
What was Greg doing after he got bit?
They sat in the truck and bring it to us to the front door. They said
Did Greg try to work?
they try to work, but they can't work it. They only bring it to the front door, and me and the driver help him take it every day upstairs.
Did Greg ever go upstairs?
No.
You said you've worked with Greg for about 10 years.
Yes.
Do you know him to be honest?
Yes.
You know him to be trustworthy?
Yes.
Has he ever lied to you as far as you know?
No.
If you weren't here right now, and this is a Friday morning in April 2018, what would you be doing?
Working.
So you're here today instead of working?
Yes.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Rondo. We really
Missing my
appreciate
day, but I'm here.
it. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming here. I have no further questions.